Hey there, this is Lee Gerstmann, and I'm going to talk about my feelings on the Gene Simmons vault experience. He calls it the GeneSimmons.com vault experience. So if I don't say .com, you know that I'm aware of it. But if you buy something, who wants to call it a .com? If I buy a cup of coffee, do I want to say I bought it at Starbucks.com? No, I just want to say I bought it at Starbucks. Or better yet, just say I bought a cup of coffee. But anyway, I have some feelings about whether or not I would buy a vault experience. And my answer is no, I would not. Would I ever buy a vault experience? No, I would not. Am I annoyed that people are buying a vault experience? No, I am not. Do I think that it's worth their time to buy it? I'll leave that up to you, but it wouldn't be worth my time. Now, for those of you who might say, oh, Lee's ragging on Gene, I dig a lot of Gene Simmons' views on things, and I sometimes thought, if I ever had a chance to talk to him in person, I would. And I probably still would take that opportunity. But the thing is, I'm not relating my view based on only on the fact that it's minimum $2,000, which in itself is something that is what I'm equating in the overall estimate. It's just the idea of the perception that we have between celebrity and person who's not a celebrity, and what sort of experience are you really getting, and what is it going to be like years down the road in your life. I'll say one thing first. I had found out that there's some sort of contract that you're supposed to sign or something that indicates that once you get this box set, this vault, that you're not supposed to sell it, that you're supposed to keep it because it's yours. I don't think you'd be committing any kind of felony if you decide to give the whole thing to your brother or something just because you love him and you want him to have it. You know, that would be like giving your house to him or something, and he now lives in the house. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're profiting from it. So I think that's what the main thing is, that they don't want you profiting from it, which in itself I think is not such a great thing, because if you bought the vault and if you wanted to sell it to someone, I think that since it's a piece of property that you bought, you should be able to sell it. That in itself, the fact that there's some kind of contract that indicates that you can't sell it, that's another of the many reasons why I don't want to buy it. Because let's say, for instance, it was something that I wanted to keep forever. Well, there's only so much value that something can have over time, and after a while, the sentimental reasons for why you bought it kind of fade. If 50 years from now, if you're a young guy and you bought the box set, the Vault Experience, 50 years later you can talk about how you got it, but you might not feel the same way about it as you did. You might feel like now you've had it a long time, maybe your finances are kind of going down, you're an older person, and you kind of need to sell something in order to make some money, and you got this vault experience in the box set, and you want to sell it. And according to the contract, you can't sell it. And you live in a small place and you've got this big vault in your room and you don't really have the room for it. It's kind of inconvenient. That's another thing. I don't have enough room in my place, and I just simply do not want something as big as a vault in my place. But those are other reasons aside from the main reasons. Here are the main reasons why I don't want to buy a vault experience, and why, if I had a chance to hear some of the songs, that would be great, but now I'm not even sure I even care to hear them. Alright, first off, it's the idea of celebrity being something that is going to enrich your life. If it's just a simple meet and greet where you can tell a celebrity you like what they do, I've had times like that. I've even known people who, if they weren't exactly celebrities, they were maybe relatives of famous musicians. And I knew them as personal friends. So that was one thing. But with other people who I met who were celebrities or were famous locally in cult kind of celebrity status, people who I really admired, like one particular guitarist of this iconic group from the 60s who people in my area still love and revere. He remembered my brother Steve. When I had mentioned my brother Steve to him, he was, "Oh yeah, I remember Steve." And I thought that was really cool, because my brother Steve jammed with them, and that's something that didn't take money in order for me to tell him. And so that means a lot. But the thing about Gene, meeting him for $2,000 and getting this box set, he's probably going to be heartfelt, of course, because you pay that much, and he wants to see the surprise that you get when you get the stuff. But remember, if it's a part of a contract that you can't sell it, right away the value does go down, because it means that you can't sell it. So it definitely isn't going to go up. But even if you could sell it and you sold it for less, or even if you just gave it to a friend who decided that he wanted to give you a very rare bottle of liqueur that costs more than $1,000 because it's so rare, as a thank you gift, even if you were to do that and you thought the value was good, the point is, it's still something that after you've listened to it for enough time, it's eventually going to wear out. It's not going to be something that you'll still have the same shock value of awesomeness as you did when you first got it. And second of all, we all know a lot about Gene Simmons from interviews. If you wanted to know about the music on the box set, if you wanted to hear him strum a little bit on the guitar and tell you about the songs, you can do that. You can watch YouTube videos. These are not, a lot of them aren't songs that are totally unknown in the Kiss world. If he has so much music to put out, or, has had so much music that he could have put out, why is he giving you like 3 or 4 versions of songs that have already been on Kiss albums? These are demos of songs that we already know of. And there are some that are not known. But out of all of the hundreds of songs that he has, when he originally thought of the idea of doing a box set, I thought to myself, that's going to be neat. It might be $100, it might be a little bit high, but if it was good enough and it was all songs that were complete songs that I never heard of, that Kiss had never done, then even if the quality of the recording wasn't great, if it was still just Gene doing his demos of his obscure work, then it would have been worth it to me. But then to put it into this big vault, which is going to cost some money, and then to have the songs being some of them kind of incomplete and some of them co-written with other people and extras, like the same song done 3 or 4 times, that to me makes the value less. I don't want to hear 4 different versions of the same song. And the fact that when you go there, it's all about him impressing you. This is the second reason why I don't want to go, is because let's say I have my own music and I want to show him my music, and he's interested and he's willing to take a listen and tell me his ideas. It's not necessarily going to lead to anything as far as a progression in my career. I would rather go to a cafe or to a local record store that I have frequented and give my copies of my CDs as promotional items to people there who are willing to take them and are appreciative of it. And I mean, I might buy a latte and a cookie, might be $5, purchase, but I'd buy that stuff anyway. The idea of them being at least interested and willing to hear my work, it's not a $2,000 thing, and they're not trying to tell me about what they do, even though I would listen, because that's more of an interaction. Like, I can go to the cafe again the next day, and if the same person is working there, I can talk to them and we can have a conversation. I won't be seeing Gene Simmons again after this one time. And even if he had called me on the phone, which is one thing that some people had gotten if they had gotten the box set during the Black Friday experience, then apparently he calls you. Well, okay, he calls me. That's an extra bonus, but after that phone call and then after the first meeting, it's done. He isn't going to talk about me. He's maybe going to talk about the fans. He's going to talk about maybe the couple of people who were the executive producers on the box experience because they bought $25,000 of it. But the people who did the $50,000 experience, if there were any, he might have a little tiny bit of a clip showing him hugging someone at their house, but you're not going to know the person's name. He's not going to help them in any kind of entertainment capacity. It's all about him. And that's maybe partly why I don't want to buy the experience. It's because I'm more promoting what I do. I am not as young as I used to be. I'm not like a 20-year-old kid who has thousands of dollars to spare just to walk up to celebrities and just say, hi, how are you, thank you. I'm someone who, it means a lot to me to have the kind of experiences where it will best benefit me. And I don't see this box set benefiting me. The only way that it could benefit me is if for some reason I did a review on the box set and it made people love my YouTube channel. But even that is a fleeting thing because I don't make money on my YouTube channel. So for you, if you want to buy this box set, you could. But I would say, if you're a musician and if you think, well, who cares what Gene Simmons thinks about my music? I just want to talk to him. You could think that. But then, how are you promoting yourself? I think that just the fact that you do have to pay the $2,000 to meet him means that he's equating that money with the whole thing. So it's not going to be as sincere as he says. It's only going to be as sincere as what you paid. And for me, that's not good enough. Now, let me think, is there another reason why I don't want to buy the box set? Well, I really don't know if there's another reason except, the fact that, let's say he has special guests like Ace Frehley and Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer like he did. And they're just jamming and they're doing kind of a, regular, just casual jam. Well, the thing is, that's fine, but in the long run, are they going to help you with your thing, whatever you're promoting to? If you gave them copies of your CD, I imagine it's possible that Eric Singer or Bruce Kulick might be interested in listening to it and getting back to you if it's good enough and if they think it's worth their time. But Ace, he'd probably take it, but he probably wouldn't listen to it and he'd probably forget who you were the next day. And the thing is, it's just the celebrity tag. It's like you're walking up to people who have this name tag saying, "Hello, I am somebody." And the name tag is golden, which means apparently if you meet them, then you're somebody too. But once you meet them and once you promote or talk about what you do, they just say, "Oh, thank you," and they forget it. So it's like an important person said, "Thank you," and an important person forgot it. To me, that's just not worth it. So I do not think that this vault experience is worth it because, well, everything, the money, the equating the money with the celebrity status, the not getting ahead in your career, the songs that are repeat songs, that including you could get an assessment of everything from just listening to YouTube videos of Gene talking and the fact that you know that a lot of these songs aren't necessarily finished, they're just working tapes. So it's not going to be like Neil Young's Decade or Stevie Wonder's Music Aquarium Volume 1, which were anthologies where they picked out their songs especially and maybe had one or two songs that were unreleased in order to make a context for what they thought was some of their best work. And they had liner notes where they talked about the songs and it made sense. This is more just a random gathering of things that Gene had that he decided to put into this really big, huge production of a way of presenting it in order to have a lot of money made, in order to prove that streaming isn't going to win, that you can still do something and make money in music, which I can understand that. But no, if I'm paying $2,000, I equate that with paying $2,000 for the vault set, the box set, because I'm not going to equate paying $2,000 with meeting a person. If it's just going to be a little bit of talk and there's not going to be any kind of way of him promoting anything that I do afterwards. So, all in all, I would have to say I now am very conscious of what I do. If I want to eat food, if I want to go out to a restaurant, there is a restaurant that's relatively close to where I live, not too close, but it's about maybe a half hour of a walk away. So it's kind of a distance, but it's not like the next state over. And the guy who does the food there, he was on this cooking show on the Food Network and he won this contest. He was on Cooks versus Cons and he had a special recipe that they liked. And it was in a soup. Most soups like that cost about like $8 or $9. His costs like maybe 14. His is a little bit more expensive, but you're getting something that the celebrities judged. And he became kind of a slight celebrity that day. And you can go to his restaurant and have him cook that for you for maybe $5 or $6 more than the regular soup. That to me is worth it. I'll do it. You know? That's more of an experience because it's not gouging my budget. You know? Anything past $100 for the box set to me would be a gouge. And so yeah, I'm okay with Spotify. I am okay with streaming because I don't necessarily need physical CDs in my house, even though I do still buy them. And I definitely don't need a huge, big vault when part of my problem is I pretty much mostly need to get rid of things instead of have more stuff accumulate. So I'll just say that overall, I just think that it's a great big shock value for people who buy it, and they'll be in awe because they met Gene Simmons, but then 10 years down the line, their lives are still going to be the same. They're still going to have the vault, and they might think that it's going to be very valuable, but they're not going to be able to sell it. I think all those things point to this. You know, if someone wants to play me a few songs of the vault, I'll listen to it, but I'm thinking I don't even really want to hear the whole thing now because I'm not against Gene Simmons as a person. I'm just saying I'm against buying the vault. You do what you want though, and if you bought it and you enjoy it, hey, more power to you. Well, that's my thoughts. Cheers.